Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you again on this hour of live teaching. And it was a pleasure seeing all of you last month. Not all of you, but at least, majority of you. And I thank God for each and every one of you. Thank you all for your warm smiles and reception and being able to attend our anniversary. And I hope to see you very soon. So in this month of August, our theme is on self-sabotage. Self-sabotage. On our platform, you may have been seeing some inspiration on self-sabotage. And the goal of this hour of life teaching is not to make you feel guilty or condemned or victimized. No. The goal is to just help us to discover some of the forces that hinders our growth so that at the end you'll be able to evaluate yourself and delete what is not necessary, what is not benefiting you. Remember, our motto is to make impact, and that impact will start with you, within you. All right? So we are going to look at self-sabotage. And self-sabotage is a behavior that creates problems in our daily lives and interfere in our long-term goals. Self-sabotage is a behavior that creates problems in our daily lives and interferes with our long-term goal. It can block our success, our happiness, even our health. Self-sabotage is not someone trying to use you or take advantage of you. No. Self-sabotage occurs when your action is contrary to your goal. Yes. When your action works against you. It's not about what somebody is trying to do to you. No, it's about your action working against you. Your action is contrary to your goal. You see, you can be very religious, but full of self-sabotaging behaviors. Yes. So it has nothing to do with Christianity. You can be very religious, as we all are, but we are still full of self-sabotaging behaviors. Yes. So it is actually a form of spiritual blindness. Because you see, self-sabotage, will not allow you to see yourself, to see the hindering forces behind your actions, and will hide under spirituality. So that's why I said it's a form of spiritual blindness. You're spiritual, yes. You pray, yes. You fast, you do all those spiritual things. But yet, there are some things in you that are making you to work against yourself and hindering your progress despite your spiritualism. For instance, most Christian, not most Christian, but some people, even with their Christianity, borrow. They borrow money or they borrow something from somebody with the intention to give back. So let's look at it. There is nothing wrong with borrowing, but actually, when you look at it, some people they have the habit of borrowing. And record has proven that most people, when they borrow, they don't pay back. But the reason is what we have to ask ourselves is what is the reason for borrowing? What is the reason? Maybe they are living above their income, or they are they are not managing their finances very well. They are into financial mismanagement. I remember I use myself as an example. I make money, but I find myself in those days, I find myself overspending. I feel spiritual, praying and doing all those religious stuff until God pointed it out to me that I need to manage my finances better. I need to stop constant shopping from mall to mall. I don't borrow, I make enough, but I could have been saving more. But I was engaging in self sabotage of just unnecessary and constant spending. So it was, I was spiritually blind, even though, you know, I am a Christian praying and doing those religious things. But my financial mismanagement was causing problem, making me not to save as much as I would have loved to. So that is a form of spiritual blindness. So I had to sit back and evaluate myself and say, you know what, I am spending too much. No more shopping. I set goals for myself. For 6 months, I'm not going to go to any shop to buy any clothes or nothing because I really don't need it. Until I began to do that, then I started saving some money. So self-sabotage can happen to anyone, whether you're a Christian or not a Christian. But the thing that you need to do is to discover it so that you can be able to work on it. Now, let us look at the areas where self-sabotage occurs. The areas where self-sabotage occurs in our lives. Number one, we see self-sabotage in procrastination. Procrastination is a very common way of sabotaging yourself. Nobody is responsible for you except you. We wait until the last minute to do things. That is not good. If you are a student, don't wait for the last minute to turn in your assignment. And even if you're not a student, if you're, if you're a worker, there are certain things in your office, in your place of work, that might require immediate attention. Don't put it off. Don't put it off. Because at the end of the day, when promotion, will come, that might stand against you. As simple as it may sound, procrastination is really not good. Procrastination is not good. It can cause you failure that you never imagined that you could be involved with. So it is a negative hindering forces, within you. Procrastination is the negative force that is inside you, and they manifest itself in procrastination. So if you are constantly engaging in procrastination, let us address it. Taking our platform, for instance, you might have many times, and you have a lot of opportunity and time to respond to some of the things that we post, but you decide to wait at the last minute. That's one example of it. So let's address procrastination. Then the next area that self-sabotage can occur is in a relationship issue. Relationship self-sabotage. We self-sabotage in relationship by just starting arguments or pulling back when we see that we are getting closer to the person, or when the relationship, are ending. Many of us don't know how to maintain relationship. We do so many things to break up relationship. And at the end, we're sorry for that. It is a form of self-sabotage. I remember when I was growing up, in my younger years, I didn't know how to really maintain relationship. So when I see myself start getting closer to somebody, I just vanish. Something will just tell me to just withdraw. And then, the relationship will just be over. It's now when I look back, I can see that it is a form of self-sabotage. Relationship is very vital. No man is an island. It takes two to tango. Another area that we can self-sabotage is in perfectionism. Yes, wanting it perfect. It involves setting impossible rules for yourself, and then you quit at the end of the day because you are not able to meet the rules that you set for yourself. That's what it's all about. According to Winston Churchill, perfection is the enemy of progress. Perfection is the enemy of progress. I like the song that says we fall down and we get up. So don't be too hard on yourself. Don't set unachievable goals just because you want to get on top. No. Set goals that is attainable within a certain time frame. And then another area that self-sabotage can occur is in our thinking. There is a thinking called sinking thinking, when your thinking is always negative. It's like you're defaulted to a negative way of thinking. It's very common in young people. I experienced that too. Negative thinking is telling yourself that you are inadequate or unworthy of success. Negative thinking is a destiny killer. Instead, when those negative thoughts come, replace it with positivity. Yes, it's called cognitive behavioral therapy, replacing the negative with the positive. Instead of saying, I'm going to fail this exam because I didn't study, how about saying, I'm not going to fail the exam because I will try my best? So when those negative thinking, when they come, don't follow it, don't dwell. Replace it immediately with positive. So now let us look at the biblical perspective of self-sabotage. What does the Bible have to say about self-sabotage? And looking at the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, from the beginning to the end, the Bible does not use the word self-sabotage, but frequently the Bible, addresses internal conflicts of acting against your own best interests. And you can find that a lot, in the book of Romans by Apostle Paul. It will surprise you that the great Apostle Paul, one of the greatest apostles, was struggling with self-sabotage. Oh yes, he was struggling with self-sabotage actions. For example, he said in the book of Romans chapter 7 verse 9, "For the good that I will do, I do not, but the evil I will not do, that I practice. Oh, wretched me, who can save me from this?" So Apostle Paul was struggling with, instead of doing the good that he intended to do, that he wants to do, he finds himself doing the opposite. That's a kind of internal conflict, a form of self-sabotage. Many of us, can, testify to that. So the Word of God talks about self-sabotage as a limiting factor. It has the potential, self-sabotage has the potential to limit us more than all the external actions put together. Yes, self-sabotage has more potential to limit your progress, to limit you more than all the external forces combined together. That is how powerful self-sabotage is. But unfortunately, even as Christians, we focus more on external factors. He did this, she didn't do this, I was less privileged. Oh, they don't like me, I didn't get it because of this. No, it is more of internal factor. Yes, the enemy of procrastination, the enemy of relationship attitude, as I've said before, the enemy of negative thinking, perfectionism, all combined together can really derail you from achieving your best potential. It's not your parents, it's not your best friend, it's not your uncle who refused to send you to school. No, it is the enemy within. And that is why it is so important. And that is why we're addressing the enemy within, the Goliath in us. So, why do people self sabotage? That is a good question to ask. Why do we self sabotage? We know that it's not good, but we self sabotage. Sometimes it is a conscious or unconscious behavior. There are many reasons that we self sabotage. One of those reasons is fear of failure. But you see, I remember the word of God that tells us that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and a disciplined mind. It says sound mind. That sound mind means disciplined mind. So, in other words, God has given us the tool to, avoid self sabotage. He has given us a disciplined mind. Most of the times, most of the time, we find ourselves saying that we are not disciplined or this is the way I am, and we accept our undisciplined behavior. This is not good. God has given us tools to develop a disciplined mind. I want you to know that it was fear that prevented Moses, you know, fear prevented him, from accepting his divine assignment. No, fear almost prevented him because when God was calling him to give him his assignment, he was terrified. He wanted to self-sabotage himself because of fear. But the mercy of God prevailed. Another reason why we self-sabotage is low self-esteem. Yes, low self-esteem can make you feel that you do not deserve anything good. Yes, it comes from within, not external forces. Most time, most times, we look for people to blame. No one owes you anything. All the help that you're looking for is inside of you. So you have to address that low self-esteem, where it's coming from. You have to address it because it's a self-sabotaging behavior and it can hinder you from going far. Another reason why we self-sabotage is trauma. Trauma from childhood experiences or from the past. They can rewire our brain and put our brain in self-defense mode. And you see your brain just in self-defense, not wanting to grow. Yes, due to trauma. People that have been traumatized, they kind of build a wall around them. The brain rewires, protecting them by making them to avoid, not to explore, not to even look at that situation again. If they have been betrayed badly in the past by a friend, then they will not explore friendship anymore. It is a way of your brain, protecting you, but it's not always good. Now, how do we overcome self-sabotage? As we have seen the problem, the problem of self-sabotage. How do we overcome procrastination? How do we overcome expecting perfection, negative talk, unhealthy life practices? Because the goal is to find the solution to the problem and not just to list the problem. It is very simple. One of the ways to overcome self-sabotage is, according to Pressfield, according to Stephen Pressfield, he says that true success comes when we have overcome self-sabotage, when we are advancing in our crafts and evolving for a higher level. I repeat, according to Stephen Pressfield, true success comes when we have overcome our self-sabotage, when we are advancing in our craft and evolving to a higher level. So the first step to overcoming self-sabotage is self-evaluation, especially in our mindset and beliefs. Self-evaluation. Even the Bible talks about examining ourselves, not for condemnation, but for correction, for improvement. So the first thing is to heal your mindset and belief. Look at your mindset and your beliefs and work towards healing them. You see, when we talk about changing our mindset in this platform through our teachings, inspiration, and prayers, we expect you to implement it. All the things that we're talking about on this platform, on Young Minds Mingle platform, is something that will enable you to change your mindset. As an active member of this group, you are expected to look into your behavioral pattern in the light of what you have been learning, and then begin to see self-sabotaging behavior and begin to work on getting rid of them. Yes. So our inspiration and write-up and contributions and teaching is it's not just for fun. It is for you to use it as a mirror to evaluate yourself, to evaluate your thinking. If we are posting something positively, look at it, evaluate your thinking and see the difference and see where your, self-sabotaging behavior is coming from and apply correction. Then another way of overcoming self-sabotage is by challenging your beliefs. Challenge your beliefs. The way to move forward is to challenge your beliefs. Write down all your beliefs, everything that you believe about money, about family, about success, about relationship, about God. Just write them down. And then look at it in the light of everybody else, in the light of what you're hearing. Don't be, you know, don't be so close up that you're not open to adjust. Ask yourself, why am I believing this way and somebody else is believing this way? Be open. For example, you may not believe in relationship building, Yes, you may not. But ask yourself why. From your answer, you will discover if you are engaging in self-sabotaging behavior by not relating with people or not. Sometimes, you might be an only child, never really, you don't have a lot of people around you. So when you grow, you kind of stay by yourself. That's not good enough because now you have to start stepping out to meet people. Another way to overcome self-sabotage is by exposing yourself to knowledge. Expose yourself to knowledge. One way of getting knowledge, is by reading good books. And believe me, books are cheap these days. Read good inspirational books. The knowledge you gain will help you to evaluate your belief system because it takes a while for people to write, especially inspirational books, because they are writing from experiences. Do not be, a know-it-all. Expose yourself to teachings, expose yourself to books, expose yourself to the Word of God. The Word of God is so powerful because when you go there, you will see the self-sabotaging behavior, that is affecting you. Yes. And then the last but not the least is embracing, embrace self-love is another way to overcome self-sabotage. Embrace acceptance and self-love. According to Marisa Peer, a psychotherapist, she points out how important it is to nurture self-acceptance and self-love in order to stop self-sabotaging behavior. When you nurture yourself, you know, when you accept yourself and practice self-love, it helps you to stop self-sabotaging behavior. Then, overcoming the fear. Fear, as I say, is one of the reasons. How do you overcome it? You start engaging in things that you are afraid of. You confront you overcome your fear by confronting that fear little by little, taking little steps. If you're fearful of people, join a little community, go to the library, go to the park, see people. I used to be afraid of flying, but look at me. I am now flying because I started overcoming it. I started taking little, flights and, traveling. If you never confront your fear will never leave you. Don't allow your fear to shut you down completely. So, as we have seen now, we have seen in summary what self-sabotage is. It's a behavior that works against you, a behavior that works against your goal when your action is contrary to your goal, knowingly or unknowingly. And we have seen, biblical uh, biblical aspect of self-sabotage. And then we have seen why people self-sabotage and the areas they self-sabotage. And finally, we have seen how to overcome self-sabotage, practicing self-love, overcoming fear. So this is for you to use as a tool to examine yourself and begin to adjust so that you can be all that God has created you to be. So may the Lord bless you. May the Lord cause his face to shine upon you. And may the Lord give you the wisdom and the humility to look into yourself and begin to address your sabotaging behavior so that you can be all that he has created you to be. See you in the next teaching. Shalom.